Hey, Aydan, how are you doing?
Hello there. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Nice to see you again.
Yeah. Last time was last June in Tuska that we met, and I did the
Exactly.
interview for the offering. Yeah,
You're
and
very hot.
we talk a bit about the new album that was coming, but it was like not that much that you were up to say back then.
Yep.
But today we are going to talk more. Also, fun fact is that the first guest in Metal Pizza was Damna, and today is the 51 episode of Metal Pizza.
I thought
So,
that I
yeah, so it's like a circle in a
yeah.
way from the first to the 51.
So nice to be here after Damna was the first. So
Yeah,
be here.
but let's talk about Reader of the Runes Luna that was released a few days ago. So, first of all, congratulations because it's an amazing album.
Thank you very much.
So, what can you tell about the genesis and the making of the album?
Well, we said it a few times before, but it was a little bit different from the previous album for a couple of reasons. First of all, the whole thing was kind of driven by the COVID-19 thing. We were working on this trilogy, and the idea was to make it the normal way. So recording one album, going on tour, do promotion, then go back on studio in the studio, record the second album, and so on. That was the original plan. Then when we were touring with the Divination album, we were around Europe, and the first voices about this COVID-19 thing came, and suddenly we needed to cancel all the things that we were planning. We had a headlining tour, we had Japan tour, stuff like that was obviously canceled because of the pandemic. And obviously the only thing left for us was to go back in our home studio, and start recording, start songwriting the songs for the second album. The things around the pandemic were not going better and better and we were still stuck in the homes, but we had the plan to do a third album. So we thought, why we shall just not continue on writing and writing, and see maybe which songs could fit better the second chapter, which one is better for the third one, and so on. So basically the two albums, the Rapture and Luna album, was song written at the same time. And then once the pandemic was gone, they were also partially recorded together, because the drums for the two albums were recorded together. So it was a little bit different from the normal way we are doing the album. Still, I think that the two albums are pretty different in terms of atmospheres and moods.
Yeah. So, from this album, there is a song so that you feel like more that is your favorite at this moment.
Well, there are a couple of songs that I like, maybe a little bit, for personal reason or stuff like that. But if I need to name one song, there is, 11 minutes long song, which is the closure of the not only of this album, but the whole trilogy. So it's the very finale of the whole story of the whole trilogy. It's pretty complicated song. It's very long, but at the same time, it contains a lot of our, characteristic, from acoustic pieces to blast beats, from fast stuff to obscure stuff. So I would say that it's the perfect ending for the finale and of this trilogy. Also, there are a lot of other songs on the album that I like, and I'm now we are getting, the first feedbacks from the fan, which songs they like the most. And it's interesting to see, how many different songs they are coming out with. So I guess there are a lot of different stuff for everyone. So
Yeah. I must say that I have two that are my favorites at the moment. Of course, I need to listen to the album more and more because if you listen just two or three times, it's not enough to get into. So sometimes there are songs that needs more time. But I will say, of course, Luna is one of my favorite, but also the final track.
good to know.
So
Yeah, obviously there are songs that maybe at first listens they don't get you immediately because they need a little bit more listen. It was the same things that we were experiencing when we were back in the 90s, and we had the time to listen and listen to the album again and again because maybe you bought it and you needed to you spent your 20, I don't know how many euros to buy it, and so you were forced to listen to it again and again. Nowadays, in this streaming era, it seems like if a song doesn't catch you immediately, you kind of lost it because people don't uh, you know uh, stream it again. But well, I believe we are, too old to, to take care about this thing, and we prefer to do the things the old way. So there are also songs in the album that will need for sure some more listen to get into because they are a little bit more complicated, and also I believe that even if it's at first listens, it could sounds the songs can sound pretty simple and easy and straightforward, but they are still, full of different layers. And with more listens, you get into a lot of, the little details that we like to put it everywhere.
yeah, and I think that it will be nice that people listen to the whole album because it's a story
Yeah,
and you want to get everything from the story. If you are just listening one here, one there, you are missing parts. Of course, if someone is listening on Spotify, the liked song and put on random, of course it's coming everything
that's
randomly,
the
but
that's the big problem for me nowadays. Usually in this as say Spotify era, basically the singles, the hit songs are going to the algorithm, and they are played, or they appear in your playlist and so on. And obviously all the other songs, which to me are equally important, because uh, as you said, they are part of a story, but not only of a story, but we take care a lot about the track list, how the songs are listed, how you can come from a very heavy songs to a very slower songs, and then going to a more folky stuff, still having the idea that people can listen from the first songs to the last one. So I know that this is not for everyone nowadays, because as said, it's more shuffle things. You listen a couple of songs, then you shuffle to another band maybe. So uh, obviously the idea of the songs to be listened from the first one to the first song to the last one, it's kind of lost, unfortunately. And we know how this is very important, especially in metal music. And here we are not talking only about one album, but three albums that are part of a trilogy. So they should be lived together, and obviously in this time where I know that the attention of the people is like few minutes, it's kind of a suicide commercially probably, but we still like to think that there are people out there still living metal music as we did back in the days.
yeah, I think that nowadays with this Spotify and all those kind of platforms, it's a big issue. Also, bands, uh, they don't are well, they work on music all the time, but working on a full length is. not that most important thing anymore for many bands, because they put the singles or a short EP. That it's nothing wrong with that, but it show how the music system changed in the last years.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, they are taking care more about the singles because this is the things that move the streams and moves the algorithm and move the numbers of your band. So maybe there are bands that I know they are, yeah, they are searching for the right single, which is, as you said, nothing wrong, and probably it was the same also back in the 80s when there was MTV or stuff like that, and you needed to have the kind of singles that was working good for making a video out on MTV or stuff like that. But still, I believe that especially in metal music, we need to think again about the whole album as a conceptual work. I don't want to say that there is a concept, but that there is something that flows from the beginning to the end. So that should be very important in metal music. Unfortunately, I notice as a lot of bands kind of as you said, are more interested in doing the right singles and push them as well, and maybe the rest of the album maybe has not the same quality, you know level.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that sometimes I miss the that the band needs to do the album. I like also to have the album in my hand and the booklet and check everything. I don't know, maybe maybe I'm getting old, but it's how we grow up, having first the cassettes, and then it was the CD, and yeah, then everything escalated in a bunch of years, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It was really important for us as a kids to have the booklet with the lyrics and try to understand what the music what the songs was about, and check the pictures of the band, and maybe where they have been recorded, who was producing and stuff like that, who did the cover artwork was very cool at the time. And it's a kind of sad that this kind of stuff for the new generation is kind of lost. And that is also why I think that the physical product is becoming more and more a kind of collection or collectible item. So also we try to make it as interesting as possible, doing special edition box set, trying to offer something more, and maybe attract the people to buy the physical product with something else. Also the vinyl, which is going much better nowadays, it's a great return because you have the big covers, as I used to see in the shops when I was a small kids, and I was looking to the big Iron Maiden covers, and I was like so fascinated about that. So it's great. Vinyl was is coming back a little bit, but still, I still hope that at least the metal fans still like to buy the physical product. About rap and trap, I don't care anything, but at least for metal music, where there is a work of cultural work, I want to say, where there is a lot of work behind the cover, the graphics, the ideas, the lyrics especially. So I still hope that there is people out there who won't abandon the idea to leave an album from the first songs to the last one.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I don't know about the younger generation. Maybe I should ask
Yeah,
to people that are 18 years old what
first.
they like to do. Do they like to listen to the whole album, or just randomly to the tracks? But I maybe I will do an episode with just young people talking about how they listen to music.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to know their opinion.
Yeah, yeah. But let's get back to the album. So you also release four music videos,
Yes,
and two are lyrics video,
yes.
and two are actually music videos. What can you tell about those two music videos that you are in?
Um, we let's say that we are not big fan of doing shooting music videos. You know, it's a lot of work. Usually there is a lot of work, and you need to work a lot. You need to stay there the whole day, maybe under summer sun, which in Italy is not really the best thing in the world. And try to move your head, bang your head with 40 degrees or something like that. But um, still, I'm joking. It is still fun to shoot music videos. Luna was pretty enjoyable. It was shot in a very particular place, is not far from where we live, and it is an ancient druidic temple abandoned. There is this kind of reconstructed druidic temples. It was done constructed by this strange guy back in the 50s. I think, and it was a hand built druidic temple, and now it's kind of in ruin, but we shot it there, and we try to to have it as a background for what was a very druidic and ritual video as Luna was. So it was fun, except for the hot of the summer, which was pretty intense. And we were in the mountains, and we needed to bring the drum kit through a lot of you know a difficult path into the trees. So it was pretty intense in this term. So it was fun. We have shot it with a guy who already shot videos for us previously, like Silver Seal or Ride of Night. So it was fun. For Gone Epoch, which is the other video, instead, as you said, we said, okay, we don't want to do too much, to have too much strain, so let's use some cool live footage. Obviously, we were on the Pagan Fest for 1 month in January, so we had the chance to shot the Milan gig with some great directors who did amazing live shooting of that night. And then we have Damna parts done with a green screen, which we are not super fan of, because we prefer to have the real stuff, but still it was pretty cool. And then the editing was done by Equilibrium guitarist Rene, who is a great guy who works a lot, and he worked also on the lyric video. He did great jobs on that.
Yeah, yeah. So where is this location? It's
We're
close to
it's
Pordenone, or is
close to Trieste.
in
Yeah,
Trieste?
it is in Trieste. Yes,
Okay, my hometown actually.
so you should know it. It's called the Hills of the Druids, but it's not in the center. It's a little bit hidden. I don't know if you know it, but if you don't know it, have a look when you are back.
Okay, so next summer I need to go there because I have never heard about it.
Uh,
Because I have been to the uh, Mitra temple.
okay. Yes.
That is a actual temple from that era. What was
Yes.
what was the era? And then I like also to go to visit the church. I think that it's not a sacred church in Duino. There
Duino.
is the temple inside, and there is the Timavo
It's very
getting inside.
this place, so you need to go there.
Yeah.
It's not known because it was a private place, but everyone uh, died with a, so there is, it's kind of abandoned now, and you need to go through some paths. But I suggest you to go and have a look because it's pretty cool.
I will absolutely. For
And
sure, it's great
one
for the photos.
a place where a lot of satanic sects did their stuff there as well. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking because when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, well, we had nothing to do because in Trieste there was nothing to do during the weekend. So, what do you do during the night? You go and with the car and go around places and check those abandoned places. Then you see candles and oh, there is anyone doing some satanic stuff. Well, yeah,
So maybe you have been. I think
maybe I don't know. I can't recall it, but yeah. But talking about the music videos, there is one music videos of your that I think that is maybe the most viewed. I'm not sure. Not sure. I didn't check, but it's the divided art.
there. Sorry,
The
you
divided art.
exactly. It was our first, and it's definitely the most viewed video. Um, yeah, it was our first video back in 2007. It was nice because it was our first experience with a director. We shot it in Turin. Um, Obviously, the whole album was a kind. It was not a real concept, but it was more a theme-driven album about death. So we wanted to represent that. I had an idea. I wanted to have a ball, a ballroom with this beautiful girl, which which representing death, and was going to the hosts of this ball, and you know, touch them and kill, and something like that. But it was a little bit too complicated for the time, for the budget and stuff. So we changed a little bit and we make it more simple, but still I think it's very cool video. It's a little bit we had some critics about it because it was a little bit hard in terms of showing death and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the theme of the album. We wanted to, to have a songs with the theme that we were talking about in the album, and it was a very nice experience. I remember it very very well.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember at the time when it came out, I think that on YouTube I watched it. I don't know how many times, but
That is why
I like it. But
that is why
you
you
know,
want.
yeah. I saw your cat coming in
Ah,
the
you saw,
room.
yes, he's here.
I don't know, is he or her?
She
She.
and she's called Lumi. So it's
So it's a Finnish word. Yeah, she is beautiful.
she's
Yeah. So every time that there is a cat, the cat needs to have
yeah, obviously.
the moment. The
She
boss needs to have the moment.
yeah.
But let's get back to Elvenking, and I was wondering because of the name of the trilogy, so Reader of the Runes. Are you into runes?
Yes, definitely. Um, yes, I talking for myself. I study um, a lot of things around esotericism in general, and obviously also runes and Noranic runes, and everything about the divination with that, and the symbols and the meaning. But I'm interested in all kind of esotericism in general, so I studied it a lot, or I don't want to say study, but I read a lot about it. I'm very interested in different kind of philosophies and um, teachings. It is not necessarily mean that I believe in something or that I need to follow something, but I'm really interested in studying it to understand. Also different religions. Not because I'm a religion type of guy. I'm not, but I'm really interested in the philosophy itself. So,
Yeah,
being it, coming from the, more, I'm more into the European type, but also some Oriental philosophies and esotericism stuff for sure. So, it was a topic that we wanted to work on. There was already a song that I wrote in an album called Red Silent Tides. That was called Room Reader, basically. So I had the idea to make a second part of this same song, and said, I told to Damna I wanted to do something like that. And he said, "But why shouldn't we work on something bigger around this idea?" And say, "Okay." From that on, everything basically, you know, started with the idea of doing a concept album, and then I don't know how we ended up in doing three, which was not in the beginning, but you know, in
it
the
ended
end,
up like this.
yeah, it's like 6 years that we are working on this project, so we're it's really
Yeah,
year.
yeah. I nowadays not that much, but in the past I was really fascinated. Well, I'm still fascinated about divination
Hmm.
kind of stuff. So all those kind of ritual and reading runes and tarot and or all things like this, I found it very interesting. And the meaning behind the runes are interesting also. I have one tattooed on my back. It's a bigger tattoo, and there's a different symbols, but they are all up together to make up a protection symbol in a way.
That is good.
So I have the rune that is there on the top of the sword is Tyr.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's my favorite. I think it's the, the the one
Then,
that move me in a way.
yeah. Then obviously, there are these kind of, especially tarot cards and runes that are used in a very, commercial way, let's say in the fairs and stuff like that. And they are slowly becoming a part of the, typical, you know, new age stuff or stuff like that. So, uh, you know, maybe it's not exactly the original meaning behind that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have to say one thing about runes now that it came in my mind. In Trieste, there is this Celtic festival, Triskel.
oh yes.
So I was every year going there, of course, because it's part of the city. And yeah. So the last summer before moving to Finland, I didn't know that I was moving to Finland. I was trying for a long time to get a job, but I went to there was a guy that was reading runes, and then it was 5 euros. And it was, well, a friend of mine was come on, let's try. I was, I don't know, but then I went, and then he told me that in the fall you are going to move to the north. And actually in October I moved to to Finland.
Oh, so it works basically.
Yeah, so I don't know what was that, or maybe what he said I just projected. I don't know, but yeah. But that's the end of the story about the rooms with me.
I used to go to the tree scale every year, so I will. I will look for this guy if he's still there, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just it was the first time that back then it was there in 2013. But yeah, I can't remember who was, but yeah, it it worked. So yeah, so that's the funny story. But you mentioned an album that was different from every other album that you publish. So Red Silent Tides. So what is your now you in this moment? How do you feel about that album?
Um, it's difficult to say. There are there is that specific part of the Elvenking history with, let's say, from 2007 to 2000, I don't know, maybe 12 or something like that, where basically we really moved away from our original sound. We tried different things. First with the site, which was a very heavy album, very influenced by death metal and some modern stuff as well. And then basically we went completely the other side with the Red Silent Tide, which was more, let's say, hard rock driven stuff like that. um, uh, Looking back right now, it is pretty clear that the in that period the band was a little bit confused about the direction to take. I believe that when we started with the site, we were a little bit, kind of bored about the fact that we have been one of the very first folk metal bands around there. We came out with the Hidden Reel back in 2001, when there was no folk metal scene at all. Basically, it was not even invented. The terms of, all right, there were cyclet. I'm wearing the t-shirt now, but there was not a real, pagan folk scene. And Ciferum came out with us with the debut album the same year, basically. Um, and we were kind of one of the first band doing something like that, but still we felt that our role was not recognized enough in Europe around. So decided to, okay, we can try to do something else and show, maybe to ourselves, that we are able also to do something different and try different paths. And that's what we did with the site. And then with Red Sign Tides, we did a complete opposite the direction, going into the hard rock stuff. I was, to be sincere, was not very. I didn't agree that much with the Red Simon Tides direction. I brought some songs like Rune Reader, for example, which was in the album probably, strangely, the most different songs, because it was closer to our origins, let's say. But the other guys wanted to go in that direction, and I also needed to came out with songs that I was writing for a different project, that I wanted to do something on my own, a little bit more light. And I needed to use those songs to for Elvenking, because I didn't have other stuff that was fit in that. Still, I kind of like the album, because it's really really romantic in a way, and I really like the atmosphere of the albums. Still, if you ask me what I think, I believe that it was those kind of album that was a kind of wrong choice in terms of direction for Elvenking, because I believe that we need to be closer to our original sound, and we kind of lost that central period of the band, doing things that were a little bit confusing for the people, for the fans, but also for ourselves, probably.
Yeah, you know, I like the album, even if it's different from everything else you did. um, but I'm always up. in a way that I think that the bands sometimes need to experiment. Sometimes they need to get lost to
Yes,
find themselves. And if the band cannot experiment, then maybe there is no space to grow up, because if someone will say, yeah, that was not a good album, they did a mistake. No, it's not a mistake. Sometimes there is need to drift away from what it's been for a long time, to find again the flame, in a way.
the thing that you said is really interesting. That a band need to, you know, kind of get lost to then, you know, find themselves again. That is very interesting because, you know, there are, if you look at or at a lot of bands, like for example Amorphis, and you know they went to kind of direct mid part of their career, and then they return back to a little bit what they were doing in the beginning. And it's interesting because you kind of you know, try to push yourself, experimenting, doing stuff that you were not used to do, try to, you know, face other type of approach to music, and then you maybe realize that your real spirit was there at the beginning where you started.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I get mad when you know there are sometimes band nowadays that, well, there is I can take one example. It's a Low Society. I don't know if you know the band.
Sure.
So
Yes.
they start with thrash metal, and then now they are doing more modern metal.
Yes.
And I think that each album that they did is amazing. So they are great musicians. So nothing to say. And people trashing all the time about also the look of the singer, for example. And I'm like, let them do their things. They are not doing nothing wrong, actually. And maybe they will get back to thrash metal, or maybe they will never get back. Who knows? It's up to them, because uh, art is not black and white. That's the point.
It is, but yeah, especially in metal, you know that you know the fans are very very faithful to the stuff. And I remember when I was a kid, when Dark Tranquility or In Flames, you know, started to experiment with different stuff, electronic stuff. I went completely mad, and I was really upset with the stuff. So I kind of understand also people that when you change things, they are, you know, they get really upset, because it was the same thing I did when I was a kid. But obviously, looking back now, I completely understand the needs of the musicians to do something different, try different paths. And maybe they even had, you know, a lot of more success with a you know, the new sound and stuff. But at the time I was really really mad, so I kind of relate to them, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand, but on the other hand, I think that there is always a space to give a bit of how to say, a bit of, now I don't get the word.
Yeah, I understand what you know, and let them do their thing.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe because I'm not that strict, because I like a lot of different things, so I'm not just in a
Yeah,
certain way. I'm just listening to thrash metal, or I'm just listening to folk metal, or whatever. No, I if I think about me starting to listen to metal with power metal was the origin, and then now mostly if I check what I'm listening, mostly is metalcore. That it's quite different from power metal. Still enjoying both things.
it is great. It is great, especially in a wide genre as metal it is, where there is a lot of great stuff in different, from power metal to black metal. There is a lot of good stuff. Obviously, everyone has their own tastes, and they can get, but it's the same thing that when you go to a festival in Europe like Tuska, for example, you get in the same day you can have Elvenking, you can have Kerry King, you can have, I don't remember what other, Dimmu Borgir, and every stuff like that.
Was
If you
the same day
well,
Infect Rain? Was
yeah,
Ghost Kid the same day? Maybe I can't remember.
yeah, a lot of stuff. And if you do the festival in Italy, you need to do the specific day. Yeah, I have the power metal day, I have the classic metal day, I have the black metal days, because people are not used to uh, you know to listen in the same day to Dimmu Borgir and Hammerfall. I don't know. There are the ones who complains because they're, this is power metal, I hate it, or this is black metal, I hate it. uh, Still, I see that internationally, let's say Hellfest, Rock, and the big festival, there are people who can watch at the same time, Marduk and Halloween. I don't know. So
Yeah, yeah. In Italy, it's a bit difficult. I was it yesterday that I don't remember was Metal Italia or which one of those Facebook page that I follow, and there were photos of a band.
yes,
It apparently there was a black metal gig happening somewhere, and the opening act is a hard rock girl band that they are dressed like
announce.
yeah, yeah. Have you seen the same post? Maybe.
I don't know that I know that there are Dogma, the band,
Yeah,
and opening up for Batushka, I think, or
yeah. And the people were complaining because they are not black metal, so they are poser.
yeah, it's the same thing that I was saying. It's, I see, if you don't like it, just watch them. Maybe you can enjoy and like it. If it's even if it's not black metal, maybe you discover something good as well. uh, Instead, in Italy, if you go to a black metal concert and you there is an opening band which is not, true cult black metal, everyone is complaining. But maybe you can find something interesting anyway. Maybe it's something good, a good band, anyway. It is still metal in the end.
Yeah. Do you think there is any chance that in Italy people open their mind and start to complain less about bands playing around or calling everybody poser or not talented, even if the musicians are very talented?
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem that we have, as you know. But I have trust that, also
At
in it.
some point,
Exactly.
maybe the younger generation will be more open. Maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah. But getting back to Elvenking, so you start in 1997, that we are close to 30 years ago, even if it seems like 2 years ago.
Exactly.
But if you could go back to 1997, there is anything that you would change?
No, I would like to return to 1997 and to have the same passion and the same friendship and link that we had back in the days, because it was doubtless the best period uh, of of my musical life, but also of my life in general, because we were four kids, with a dream, and there was an incredible passion and link, between the members, and we had, a very very clear goal that was to release first a demo with our songs, and then uh, possibly make an album. And basically we put all our passion, everything that we could, to make the best thing possible and to achieve this dream. And in a way or another, I don't know how we did it. And especially the period around the demo recordings and the debut album Hidden Reel, it was the best period ever, because of all the uh, passion that we put it, how we believed in, and everything that we have done artistically, in terms of friendship, of links between the members. It was a magical period that I completely understand that will never could never come back. And it is clear that those kind of feelings and passion, you cannot leave, or rebuild, or try to recreate in any way, because they were, songs of the fact that you were young, with certain ideas, certain way of seeing life, probably with also less responsibilities. You know, we were young with no responsibilities, no thoughts about the future, or the work, or what I need to how to I need to pay my bills or stuff like that. And it was that kind of periods, like the childhood, that will never come back. And what I would like to do is just relive the it's not possible. I would like to somehow relive that kind of that feelings of that period.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's nostalgic in a way, thinking, and when you are a teenager and in your early 20s, everything feels way different.
Exactly. Exactly, it's a and it is a little bit. There is a song in the album which is called "Gone Epoch," exactly, which is the lyrics are about this, about the period. In this kind, it's more about the childhood, but in general, of those times that that uh, have been there, you have lived it at the best possibly, and they will never come back, but still it's in your memory, and you can still live in your memory, and try to recall them, and feel how great those periods were.
Yeah, yeah, true. Let's talk about the tour now, because um, you have a gig n- in 2 weeks
Yes.
in Surbia Festival. Then you have Isola Rock on 10th of May. And then during the summer, you are going around Europe, some festivals.
Yes.
And then there is, in September, another festival in Italy. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, after the tour, the long tour we had in the Pagan Fest, that was like 34 days around Europe. We needed to have a little break to recharge the batteries. It was pretty intense, also because there were 5 bands playing, so it was more like uh, a festival, a touring festival. So it was 53 people traveling together, so it was very very also logistically complicated. So we took a break to recharge a little bit the batteries, concentrate about the release of the album, and now we are back. In 2 weeks we are going back to on the live stage, and it will be the first time that we will bring the new stuff, some new stuff. Obviously we played 2 new songs in the Pagan Fest, the 2 singles that were already released, but we will play more stuff. We are nowadays rehearsing the new set list with some old stuff as well. And so It's gonna be the first long set list that we will do, and then we will go around festivals in summer, a little bit around Europe. So we will go back to a shorter set list because in festival you play from 40 minutes to 1 hour depending. um, then, as you said, we have the Metal Italia Festival, which is an important festival in Italy. And probably in the autumn, we will go back to Japan finally. We were supposed to tour Japan when pandemic then struck. It was canceled. Then Japan closed the borders for a long period of time. So we decided to wait for a new album to go back there. And then 2026, I think that will bring a lot more in terms of touring.
Okay, interesting. So let's wait to hear where you are going to tour. There is any country that you have never been, but you would like to go and play?
Let me think. Europe, I think that we have played a little bit everywhere. We never played Norway, for example, which will be
Okay.
cool to do it for the Nordic countries. I don't know if Iceland has any any kind of festivals or something like that. I don't know. We've never been there. Um, we have never been to the places like China or Singapore that I know. I see that nowadays are opening a lot for metal music. There are bands that are going touring there, and while 5 to 10 years ago, I was looking, the metal crowd was still, small. Now I see a lot more interest there, so it will be interesting to go there. And South America, we did a lot of countries, but there are some we have not visited yet, so maybe there. And we did a huge tour in USA and Canada last year, and was great. So really cannot wait to go back there.
Yeah. Yeah. But now let's go to the question that your fans left. So there are two quite long. So let's see. I'm going to read. So Yanka asked or wrote, there is a song, Rune Reader, on the Red Silent Tides album. Then in 2019 was released first part of the Reader of the Runes trilogy. I would like to ask where the idea from Reader of the Runes came from. It is the same Rune Reader from the Red Silent Tides. I like to imagine he waited many years for his full story. What is your favorite story or character from the mythology? Did you ever visit some strange places? For example, some circle of stone altar in the middle of the woods or weird ruins? Did something strange happen there? Sometimes I randomly discover places like that. So, a lot of questions.
Question. So, as we were kind of telling before about the Rune Reader song in Red Silent Tides, yes, it is the same character. It's a pretty interesting thing because, as we were kind of discussing just before, for an album like Red Silent Tide that was going into a completely different direction, I wanted to, already come back to some of our original sound, but also original, lyrical approach and philosophy. So I wrote the songs Rune Reader that was about this mysterious figure without going too deep into who was and what he was doing. Um, and strangely, this song was included in an album completely different, with a completely different approach in terms of lyrics and also musically. Still, I knew somehow that I wanted to go back to those to that character and write more about it and go deeper in finding who really he is, and maybe create a story out of it. And I had the idea to make a second song, maybe a Room Reader Part 2. I didn't have any title yet or anything like that. But I knew that I wanted to do something like that, and I talked to Damna about this, and I said, okay, maybe there is this particular song I want to do a second part and go on. And he suggested the idea to to go a little bit deeper and maybe create something more about that. So we started to think around it, and the idea of creating a concept album around this figure came out um, randomly, basically. So we started to think about it, and for a pretty long period, the idea was there floating. We were thinking maybe sometimes when we were meeting together, I think that we can do this and that. And then it was a specifically very long flight to South America. When we were touring South America, we usually had these like 11 hours flights or stuff like that, and without anything to do. So we used the time, to talk about this idea of creating a concept around this figure, and the general ideas and the general first glimpse of this story came out, and we put it into paper basically, and from there everything started. And we created this story that was supposed to be in a single album, that but when the story was down, it was immediately clear that it was not possible to include it in one only one album. So we decided to split it in three chapters, like a movie trilogy or something like that. Second part of the question was
Second part was, what is your favorite story character from the mythology?
mythology in general. It means,
Yeah.
or hmm, I don't know, a character mythology. When you speak about mythology, I immediately go back to my studies in Greek or or Roman mythology and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's correct. But there are a lot. I really cannot name one. As I said, I'm studying a lot more than mythology. I'm more into esotericism and different philosophies and religions approach. Uh, if I need to name something about mythology, I would say someone from the King Arthur legends. I've been to Britain, the French Britain, this summer. I visited all the French part of the King Arthur and legends, because there is the English part, but there is a lot of in the French part. And I know I went there looking for the where the you know where the knights were supposed to be, where King Arthur were supposed to be, Excalibur, where it was supposed to be given by the lady in the lake. That is a very interesting mythology also, because it has different approaches. The British part and the French part, which are slightly different, and it's a very interesting myth to link together, because it's also coming from legends partially, but also true story from the other side. So it's a good mixture for sure.
Yeah. Then there was, she also asked, did you ever visit some strange places? For example, some circle of stones, altar in the middle of the woods, or weird ruins. Did something strange happen there?
Basically, all my holidays are based on this. So I used to go to, as I said, this was the last one I did in Britain, in the French Britain. But probably the most beautiful, kind of mystical journey I did. It was in Ireland 2 years ago. I I visited Ireland by car, searching only for specific, druidic or many places. Also, the very unknown one, lost inside the woods, that not a lot of people knows, that you need to reach by walking in the woods, because they are not reachable, especially in the wild side of Ireland, where there are a lot of monuments, like monuments or abandoned menhirs, or circles of stones that are really left in the nature, without the typical touristic attraction with the bar on the side, and the tickets, but they are just left naturally where they were in their original places, without anything around. So it was really the best experience to go there and find these places, maybe lost in the woods. And obviously, if someone is not interested in that, maybe can go there and see a bunch of stones and say, okay, and so I did all this road to see this. But if you go there with a certain mental approach, and what you are looking for, they are really mystical and powerful places that I love to visit. And I don't know if something really unnatural happened, but I definitely feel the power of those places, in terms of connection with the nature, with the man philosophy, with your inner perception of the magical place, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there are certain places where you can connect, and there is some energy that you can feel, and yeah, and it's beautiful to get in those places.
I love, I love, as I said, I'm trying to do holidays that are only to visit these particular places.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. But let's get to the second comment, that is Anni Dodo. Any update about possible re-recording of Weird and Damna's with Damna's voice? If so, will you include some Leprechaun song?
Yes, we were talking about this last week, me and Damna. We
Eh,
have this project since a lot of times. We kind of said it a lot of time. Every time we want to seriously approach something else happened. We wanted to do it some years ago. Then this Reader of the Runes idea came, and we kept on the side this project. Um, but it's something that we also discussed last week. We want to do it. I personally really want to do it, because I believe that those particular chapter of Elvenking history is kind of missing, because it's the only album without Damna. It was not supposed to be like that, and especially uh, the album itself was supposed to be different, because obviously we had uh, songs that we were working on with Damna. Uh, we we do have two CDs of pre-production done back in 2002 with Damna on vocals, and the other last week we were going to a rehearsal, and I had these very old CDs, and I put it in the car listening to those songs with Damna on vocals. And uh, they're asking if there are Leprechaun songs on it, and yes, because the songs that were in the Damna projects, they were the original songs that were supposed to be on Weird. Not all of them, but at least three or four were already recorded by Elvenking in pre-production forms at the time, or they were unfinished idea that we were working on, and then Dana finished themselves. But the idea we had with this is not to re-record Weird as it is with Damna on vocals, but record the album that was supposed to be back in 2002, with the songs that we had in mind. And then obviously because of the split, they were something has been brought away by Damna. The songs that we were working together were just being left unfinished and stuff like that. So the idea is to kind of go back to 2002 and restart from where we were working, and do the album that we were probably supposed to do if Damna would have been in the band. So
Yeah,
we will do it, but I cannot promise when. That's the problem, because
yeah. At some point.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to read the last part that I'm not sure. Um, I would love to hear Rusalka with Elveking's current lineup.
That is one of the songs that we have in the list, so why not? Yes.
Nice, nice.
There are amazing songs in that demos, and there are songs that we have worked as Elvenking, and obviously uh, with this lineup, with a more experience in playing, producing stuff, I believe that could be something really really great to listen nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. But now let's talk about metal music in general. And I would like to know, how did you get into metal music?
Well, I was, as far as I remember, I was always being fascinated by um, the kind of typical kind of music, or some visual stuff. I remember it has nothing to do with, but I remember that there were this Duran Duran video called Wild Boys back in the 80s, where there was this very, very huge video with this monster and a very, and the song was pretty rocking as well. And I don't know how many years, but it was really yeah, a small kid. I was fascinated by them, by this, and then my first musical approach was the idea of liking stuff like Bon Jovi and Europe, the stuff that from the 80s, from the very first 80s. I started to like those things. And then I remember that when I was going to some vinyl shops at the time, there was these Iron Maiden covers like Seven Son of a Seven Son, or somewhere in, or Killers, for example, with this monster and blood in case of Killers, and stuff like that. That really attract me, and I wanted to know more about it. But my very first approach with this, it happened when I went to it was 1989. I was going to the house of my school friend, and there were these vinyls that were owned by his older brother, obviously, and we were not allowed to touch them because we were. It was okay. Don't touch my stuff and so on, but I remember that one particular afternoon he was away. I don't know, he was not at home. So I asked, can we listen to this stuff? And your brother will never will never know that we have touched it. And there was this specific vinyl with this cover with two hands, one monster hand and one human hand, joining and giving the key one to the other. And it was Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 by Halloween. And obviously I was already into fantasy stuff, everything that was around fantasy. I already read Lord of the Rings when I was 10 years old, 11 years old. And this fantasy cover uh, attract me so much that I wanted to hear the music included there. And so we started to listen to this vinyl. When the invitation intro came out, I was already so into the stuff. And when Eagle Fly Free started, was that the it really, it completely changed my life, because I said, okay, I want to do this thing somehow. I never heard anything like that. Probably never heard any double bass or anything so fast and so epic, and and heavy, epic and heavy and fast at the same time. So that completely changed my life. And from that moment on, we started to listen to all the vinyls. This big brother of my friend had, he had the Iron Maiden albums, Live After Death, The Killers, some Malmsteen stuff. Remember, uh, and I immediately, fell in love with Halloween and Iron Maiden, and I don't know if I can say, but I stole my mother's money to go to go and buy the cassettes. Sorry, mom. Now you know. I stole some money from my mother, pockets, and I went to buy Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden and Keeper of the Seven Keys 1 and 2 by Halloween, and from there everything started.
I think your mom is not gonna be mad for this because, yeah, it was well spent.
Kept on doing the same thing for when I didn't have possibility to buy cassettes, but okay.
Yeah. Uh, so we can find out about. So if people wants to find out about your favorite bands, musician, and the first gig, people just need to go to the Elvenking website because there is everything there. But what was the last gig that you attend? So you went to watch?
The last one?
Yeah,
Oh gosh. Okay, you mean that I went, I watch a lot of gigs when I play, obviously. But if I need to remember the last one I went, by on purpose. Which one was? I saw some concerts last year for sure. I went to see Dark Tranquility. I went to see Chanemy. I went to see. I don't remember which one it is. Need to check.
yeah.
I
But
go
now,
to concert, but I saw a lot of I see a lot of gigs when I'm around festivals. But yeah,
yeah, and now that you were saying this about the seeing other bands when you are around on festival, is there any band that was a surprise for you, and from that moment you start to follow the band or listening more to their music?
for sure there are. Um, there are. Yes, let me think. Um, I saw a lot of bands that then I started to check them. For example, Equilibrium. I remember one was. I knew the band that was around, but for some reason I never checked them properly. I saw them live, and then I started to go back to their discography, and I like a lot, a little bit more the old stuff because I'm more the more folk stuff, even if the new one is interesting as well. Um, for sure, there are a lot of bands that I knew. Watching especially festivals, there are a lot of stuff that you do not expect to see. And obviously now I don't remember anything, but there are a lot.
Yeah, I was thinking about Italian metal bands.
Sorry.
So Italian metal bands. So what's your favorite Italian metal band?
Well, there are a lot. A lot of them now are friends, obviously for obvious reason. So I don't want to tell them, name the bands only because of that. But if I need to name one specific band that was really important for us back in the days, it was Labyrinth. because they were the first band, in my opinion, that really show everyone that there was the possibility for an Italian band to go beyond the borders and sign with a foreign record label, Metal Blade, at the time of Return to Heaven Denied. And when we were, just in the beginning of the band, 1997, 1998, I remember we went to see Labyrinth probably, I don't know, 5, 6 times everywhere it was possible to reach them, because we wanted to really to see close how an Italian band was acting on stage, and we were really interested in checking what kind of gear they were playing, what kind of amps they were using, how they were how they were dressing, and stuff like that. For example, the idea that they were using fake names kind of inspire us to change our names, because we felt that especially at the time 1997, 1998, having these very strong Italian names was not cool at all. So we wanted to have this, you know, don't call us with our Italian names. So we were inspired more by black metal and stuff like that than the fake English name that had Labyrinth. That was kind of not really. But the idea of not presenting themselves as Italian, which said nowadays probably it sounds like a little bit offensive against our country, but at the time it was really important for us to not present ourselves as Italian, because Italy was really not a metal country. So there was a kind of um, coming from Italy, there was already some barriers from people outside. You coming from there, there is no known metal band, so probably you are not good enough and stuff like that. And I think paid in time. Then obviously there are Rhapsody. Rhapsody has always been a kind of um, strange entity, because they were Italian, but it was not really clear. They had German producer, German. They were all outside. It was not really even if they were coming from Trieste, but they were more this mysterious entity, very big at the time. They were,
I
but
have one story about this. I don't know, but I remember one friend of mine saying, "Yeah, Luca to really live in this castle in Germany." I don't know if it was if Luca to really ever lived in a castle in Germany.
I don't
No
think so.
idea, but that's I don't know if it was a myth that people just were thinking, yeah, and yes, maybe dragons
There
outside.
around Rhapsody. It was not really. This was this mythical area around Rhapsody, and it was great, at the time. Then obviously nowadays, I don't know. I met Alessandro Lotta uh, you know or Alex Trapoli around Trieste, and you met. But at the time, it was really really a kind of a mythical band for all the Italian ones, because they were really into a completely different level compared to the Italian scene. They have never been part of the Italian scene because they were really beyond that. So I never considered them as part of the Italian scene, because they were on a complete different scale. Another band that we were very close to since the beginning, our Secret Sphere, because they have always been uh, uh, they kind of started maybe 1 or 2 years before us, but we always went on together. I loved so much their debut album, and they were inspiring us well. And then White Skull, and then Death Assess, there are obviously mythical band, very important for everyone. So a lot
Yeah,
of very good.
yeah. And now I would like to know, what are you listening nowadays? Are you listening to metal music or to everything else?
No, I'm still listening a lot to metal music. Mm, if like when like 10 years ago, I was listening only strictly 100% only metal music. Nowadays, I'm trying. I noticed that sometimes I need to go back to something different, and if I need to, I have different kind of stuff. If I need to relax, I used to listen to kind of orchestral stuff, soundtracks from films, stuff like Two Steps from Hell, or very epic stuff like this, or some new age to relax, or similar stuff. Or sometimes I need to listen to some hits from the 80s and the 90s, the big songs that I grew up with anyway. So I use this very, the hit from the 80s and the hits from the 90s, and those kind of stuff that, kind of bring you back to the, I don't know, the summers of when you were 14 years old, or stuff like that, the typical songs that were on the radio or at the parties when you were at school, and kind of, as we were saying before, maybe help you to go back to those specific moments. For the rest, I listen, a lot of metal music. What I notice is that I really do not follow that much the new stuff. I'm listening to a lot of old stuff, maybe in my collection of CDs that maybe you can see a little bit
Yes.
everywhere. Um, I prefer to, buy some old CDs that I do not own, from the 90s or stuff like that, even if there are not too many, the one that I still miss, but I have a lot. I try to follow some of the new stuff. I don't like a lot from the new scenes. Maybe I like more some black metals, new black metal, more than the power metal acts. I'm more the power metal guy, but I like more the stuff from the 90s that the nowadays stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know about the power metal nowadays.
I don't know if it
I don't
even
know. I don't know. There is. I think that there are bands, but not that much because it's. I think that it's always like a cycle.
yes.
So I think that now it's more well modern metal, but modern metal have a lot of things inside. So I will say that the new metal and metalcore are bigger at the moment.
Especially now they call power metal a lot of things that I believe it's not really, at least it's not closer to what I used to call it, back in the 90s. I am thinking about Halloween, Gamma Ray, and stuff like that, and now they are calling power metal something different, slightly different, so I don't know. For sure, I'm listening to a lot of stuff also from, maybe I'm trying to understand also metalcore and more modern metal. I like a lot of death metal, with some melodies. Everything that is uh, taken from the Gothenburg scene. There are a lot of metalcore stuff, especially in the Nordic country, that you know take the lessons from that scene and make into something a little bit more modern, and I like it a lot. And I like a lot of black metal as well, especially the more atmospheric and epic one.
Yeah, yeah. But now let's go to my jar and let's see what topic are we picking. Let's
Right.
hope it's something that it's not come before. Well, we have. I think that this came just once, and I don't know. Celebrity crush. So,
Ooh,
do you have a celebrity crush?
of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a crush for Jennifer Aniston, for example. When I was a teenager, I was watching Friends, obviously, and uh, that was one of my crush for sure. And I was really, you know, I like her a lot. Also, the character she was,
Yeah,
having. Uh, that was one of mine.
yeah,
Then there
yeah.
are a lot of others, probably a lot of actresses or um,
But that was the biggest one.
they're the one that I remember the most. Yeah, for sure.
Mm,
Was
yeah,
really, I really, it was really a crush at
yeah,
that.
yeah. Um, should I say what was mine?
Yeah, need to.
Don't judge me
I
too hard, please.
I want
So it was Brian from Backstreet Boys.
who I who from Backstreet Boys?
Brian,
Ryan. Yeah,
yeah. So you know
I think it's.
my
I thought it was Kevin or or
no, it was Brian, and I planned as a 12, 13 years old what I was. I planned all my life with him.
I
Then
really
then he got married, and then my dream crashed down. So I was, well, it was
okay.
not meant to be, but we share the same birthday day.
Ah, that's a sign. I think that Backstreet Boys has been a crush for a lot of girls at the time. So yeah,
But yeah, don't judge me too much. Let's get another.
I I I like Backstreet Boys a lot. So that's
Yeah,
one of my I'm listening to a lot of stuff, but the stuff from the '90s and that stuff there, the pop stuff around Max Martins and that kind of production and super songwriters like Max Martin was yeah, great quality stuff.
yeah, yeah. I'm agree. I still listening. If someone is checking my Spotify, it can be a bit mess. Some death metal, and then Eurodance and Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, that
But
it's typical from a lot of metal people don't tell, but I know that there are a lot of Eurodance as well inside the playlist of the metal people of our age, let's say. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's true. So
yes.
I got another one, and it's air and bird. So, how do you take care of your hair?
Nothing particular. I just watch them a lot. That's the
The it's interesting about when it comes to washing hair. Um, on internet, I found out that people don't wash their hair that often, and then I was like, I'm showering every day. I'm washing my hair every day, but people say that it's wrong, and I don't find it wrong.
yeah. I saw the same thing, like people washing their hair once a week or even once every 2 weeks. I don't know how they do. I wash them every day. Yeah. So
They are
I
still here.
so I don't know if it's wrong or not, but I need because I need to wash them. Yeah, and I need to go out with having a shower. So uh, that's pretty normal. I don't know how you cannot wash them for 1 week or something like that. I would never been able to.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, uh, the scalp smell
Yeah,
if you
that,
don't wash it, and people don't get it. But even if you put all the product that you want, it smell. And
and
when I work with people, and not always, but there are times that I can definitely tell that they didn't wash for a while their hair.
That's not good.
Yeah, but people don't get that. But yeah, everybody is free to do whatever they want. But I don't know. I don't. But now let's talk about the most important thing in the world, that is pizza.
It is.
So you like pizza, of course.
I'm Italian.
Yeah. So what's your favorite pizza?
Well, first of all, I would, if I I would eat pizza every day if it was possible. I mean, obviously, it's not the, the, I don't want to say healthier, but it's pretty. If you want to, to not gain a lot of weight, you need to take care a little bit. But obviously, here in Italy, every corner you have a very good pizza house or pizzeria, as we said. And I try to have at least one pizza a week if possible. My favorite one is usually, I don't know, in English it's crudo and bufala, which is ham and mozzarella, which is a typical cheese, which is very different from what where when mozzarella around. I don't know. I was in the U.S. Trying to taste the pizza that they have just to understand, and I have to say it's not the worst thing in the world. The kind of mm, Domino's pizza or stuff like that. It's something eatable, but it's really different from what we do call pizza. It's a different thing, and especially the ingredients like the mozzarella, the bufala, that those kind of typical cheese that they need to be super fresh, super well done. uh, I think that you can find it all only here, or maybe outside Italy, only if they are coming from here somehow. Same thing with the typical ham, which is here is it's a different thing that what you find outside, especially the crudo from San Daniele, which obviously, or
I
from
have to say, today I went to Lidl
Yeah.
and there was a Italiamo, or I think it was the Italiamo series, and there was ham
Yes.
crudo. And then
Yes.
I was checking, is this Parma or San Daniele? Because I don't like Parma because it's too sweet. I like San Daniele because it's salty and it's right. It was San Daniele, so I take it on.
Same thing for me. I also don't like the sweetest Parma stuff. More the our region one, which is the best in the world. Or even if it's more salty, like the Tuscany one, which it's even better for me. But to be sincere, I could eat pizza every kind. I try to, every time I go to eat pizza, try to take some different one with different taste, and I could eat every every type of pizza, every type of. I don't like maybe only with vegetables because it's a little bit. Yeah, you can have something more interesting, but still, it's the best food in the world.
Yeah, yeah. What is your opinion on pineapple on pizza? Does it belong on pizza?
No, not for me. Not for me. When we go to Germany, we used to order pineapple ham pizza just for fun when we are with the band. Especially our bass player is really like to order it every time we are in Germany. He always order it uh, for fun, but probably he also like it because otherwise I don't see a reason to order it again. I personally believe it is not. No, no, not for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm agree. Everybody can eat whatever they want, but not on my pizza. Uh, so today, my boyfriend bought a pizza from a kebab place, And then he didn't tell me what he bought. Then when we were at home and I went to eat, I had just kebab, but he had this pizza, and he said that you will never try this pizza. And then I said, what's on that pizza? It's peach, blue cheese, kebab, and meat. Yeah, the biggest problem is the peach. Well, also blue cheese. I don't like blue cheese, but peach is even worse. The pineapple.
Eat the fruit,
Yeah,
the pizza. I don't want to try.
and
Yeah.
it's the one in the cane, so with the syrup.
Uh, why? Why? I
I
don't know.
don't know. It's Finland, and
Yeah,
Finnish people sometimes they try weird things.
we have been in Finland several months, as you know, recording stuff and in the studio, but I never had a pizza with peaches, luckily. Uh, but I always eat pretty good there. I don't have to complain.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's you can find very good food in Finland, but sometimes they take pizza with weird stuff on it.
Uh, that's a problem. They need you know, to study the culture of pizza before.
Yeah, but step by step, they are getting there.
Yes, exactly. There are more and more good pizzas around Europe. A lot, from Italian guys who moved away. So maybe with years we will reach a good level everywhere.
Yeah. So if Elvenking will be a pizza, what pizza will be?
I would say a pizza with a lot of ingredients, different stuff. So maybe that kind of capricciosa stuff or quattro four seasons. But since I don't like that much that pizzas, probably I would say it would be something with I don't know, different tastes. Like truffles, mushrooms, and ham or stuff. Pretty strong, with a lot of personality in the tastes. Pretty different, but well combined together. At least I hope something like that could be a
Yeah,
good,
with a good balance,
exactly a good balance between the ingredients.
strong and folky.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect definition. Yeah.
Yeah. But now let's get to the question that the previous guest left for you. From which famous musician would you like to have the instrument?
Physically, I mean,
Yeah,
the real instrument of someone.
yeah,
There are, I'm a guitarist, so I would like to have, some really iconic guitars that I like. For example, I would love to have Alexei Lyos guitar, which is one of the biggest guitarist, musicians, and songwriters of all times. I would like to have, some 80s guitars from Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden, which are, you know, another of my favorite musicians with amazing instruments, in my opinion. And probably the iconic pink V guitar from Kai Hansen of Halloween. Yeah.
yeah. Thinking about just came in my mind that Alex Ilaio, I think that I did one of the last video interview with him
No,
before.
really? No.
Yeah, the last with Children of Bodom, actually. So yeah,
That was a great inspiration, for us, for me. I saw them live quite sometimes, and was great, and he left a great legacy in terms of music, songwriting, guitar playing, and attitude for sure.
Yeah, he was an incredible musician.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But now it's your turn to leave the question for the next guest.
Okay, I I knew that I knew from someone that the next guests are from New Zealand, so I would like to know what kind of pizza they eat there and why they are eating that stuff and not something good. I I know that, yeah, they can eat something better, but yeah, why they are need to eat that stuff? So you can ask them, especially when they are telling what kind of pizza they are eating. I'm pretty interested in know, especially over there, what they eat in terms of pizza, because I believe that there is a little bit everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But now we are at the end of this episode that probably is the longest episode ever because we chat a lot and that's great.
Okay.
And would you like to say something to people that are watching or listening this episode of Metal Pizza and your fans, of course?
Yes, I try to always to trying to connect with what we were saying before. I would like, especially for this album that we have just released, but in general with metal music, as we were saying before, I would like to say that it will be great if people would still listen to especially metal music with the attention we had back in the 90s, and maybe give to the albums a full listen from start to finish, and maybe try to uh, you know go deeper into the songs, into the lyrics, into the songs mood, atmospheres, that this will go maybe more to the new generation that probably are less used to do something like that. I believe, I'm talking a lot because okay, I'm the old school guy, but then in the end I'm I'm always on Spotify because I have 1,000 CDs. I don't know how many vinyls and cassettes, but obviously having Spotify or similar streaming platforms are the best thing, because you have everything that you want if you want to listen in that specific moment. I remember when I was driving my car and I say, I would like to listen to that songs, and obviously I didn't have the CD there, and nowadays you can do it. So I'm also one of the of you of the new generation, but it would be great if there are still people who can sit down with the lyrics, going through the songs and through the meaning of the song, especially with metal albums, where I believe there is a lot to discover, a lot to go deep into, and I still have the feeling that all the metal crowds have a high level of interest, culture. uh, I don't want to say that they are more clever than other, but I strongly believe, being in the metal world since uh, you know since forever, basically, that the metal crowd is really deep, clever, with a lot of interest, with a lot of clever people. So I would like that this will remain a part of our music. So just hope this for everyone there.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.